All right, next up we have Finn Labalme. All good?
Yeah.
You ready? All right.
Okay, this is a talk about security demands agility, and also about my fear that even though there's a lot of work going into it, government security is kind of an oxymoron. I work for a company called Civic Actions. We work to provide digital services and other systems to the federal government. Nowadays, we're trying to transform government. And my first project there was with a DoD agency that was transitioning from something called DIACAP to the RMF and trying to get an authority to operate, or an ATO. I thought the RMF is new, so this must be good. But I was pretty wrong by that. They didn't have anything for cloud services. There's now FedRAMP, helps with cloud services. But the system pretty much stuck in the past. The output of the RMF is a 300 to 400 page Word document. That probably, parts of it's probably resembled your site at some time in the past, but as the system changes, you're supposed to update the SSP, the System Security Plan. It doesn't happen so often. And when you do give them the security plan, they give you an ATO that's good for 3 years. So your system's secure for 3 years. I wouldn't believe that. So I thought that after writing this 400-page plan, I just thought I never want to write another monster security plan. This is just not the way to make security happen. So I thought, what can I do? I can automate the SSP. First step is to put some stuff into Git, make systems that do boilerplate generation, evidence collection, and verification that automatically feeds into the document. I was already using a bunch of OS tools, open source tools like Ansible and OpenSCAP for scanning, Docker, and I thought maybe I can wire these tools together somehow. About this time, Greg Ellen, a colleague of mine and the guy behind GovReady, introduced me to 18F. And 18F was working to do things to handle, they said, handle FSMA better and faster. FSMA is the parent kind of to RMF. There's a lot of acronyms here. But they had something called Open Control and Compliance Masonry, very cool stuff. And the Department of Homeland Security, I found out, had a mandate called Continuous Diagnostics and Mitigation. I thought, well, this sounds like maybe the right thing. They might be doing they might have already solved the problem. Well, that system uses these agents that they would put onto your system, ACAS and HBSS, and they would monitor traffic and events and feed them back to a centralized dashboard. But the problem is that they were generally written for Windows and legacy systems, and I was running a Red Hat Linux system, and the two didn't go together very well. In fact, actually, at one point, they asked me to turn off SE Linux so that they could make my system more secure by putting in their security system. So I was running, as I said, I was running Red Hat. I had SE Linux in enforcing mode. I was scanning with this security content that was actually more recent than we could get from Nessus because it hadn't been NIST certified yet. But if I had been running a Red Hat 6 system or a Windows system, it would have been considered more secure because those systems could actually be monitored and pass their information back up. So I ended up having to get waivers for several of my controls. And this was really unsatisfying to everybody, including not just me, but to everybody up the chain, because they said, why can't your system be as secure as this Windows system? That was just a problem. We understand responsive design now, but we don't necessarily understand responsive security. To make responsive security, we have to think outside the box. We have to start thinking about new systems, perhaps like rolling releases or things that can move very quickly, because that's the way the system works. We need new paradigms. We need to realize that just because maybe it's possible that Red Hat 7 might be more secure than Windows 7. But the government is stuck in static systems, and they're speeding up compliance with things like CDM. Appears to me like they're speeding up keeping systems static, just learning about them faster. So DevOps is really a key thing here, and security demands agility. So Joey Ito wrote this book, Whiplash, which a totally different kind of book, but I recommend highly. He says that the new paradigm is to embrace risk, and one step is to open the CDM APIs and data formats. And I guess that's this talk, and thank you very much. And AGL, by the way, is a group that my company works with called Agile Government Leadership, and I highly recommend them. Check them out.
Thanks a lot. Great job.